Yeah. How we doing, everybody? We're home today. Which is kind of nice. I'm usually not home. Modelo Friday. And we're going to give it a shot from home today, man. It was real windy in Vegas today. So my wife built up the brick backdrop. Got a little bit of the brick backdrop going. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, it was a salty week. I'm looking forward to a Modelo at some point. I am devastated by that Yankee loss. That Yankee loss just totally got in my head. Man, that was rough. All right, what else? We got a few minutes to have a mini monologue here. What does everyone want to talk about? What's got you going? I don't know what the Raiders are wearing on Sunday. I would assume they're road whites. What's going on, everyone? Got to get some water going, man. I got some. Got to get some water going here for a second. Hold on a second. All right, man. Here we go. From home today. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you helping building this YouTube. We got to get to 10,000 subscribers pretty quickly here. So I can use your help with that by sharing this, putting it out on Twitter, letting people know what we're doing. And that would be much appreciated. Yeah, the Yankee loss was one of the worst losses of my life. That game was so devastatingly brutal to me that I rank it the only worst Yankee game I remember. Obviously, the Diamondback loss in the World Series was the all-time worst. Second was the Red Sox in 2004, game 4, when Dave Roberts stole second base. Mariano Rivera didn't close it out, and we lost that one. But this one last night, after Judge and Stanton homered, I can't even explain it. So today I'm probably going to just take this through the monologue to the bottom of the hour because I'm home. You can't hear the audio of the guest. I might keep it through Vic Tafur, but it's kind of hard to do that because, again, when I'm home, I don't have the audio from the radio station tied into my YouTube feed, and it's not that complicated. But I'm probably going to go for 30 minutes today. It's been a long week. Then I'm going to go get some lunch at 2 o'clock when we're done and go have a good weekend. Man, we had some bad weather here last night. Man. Bobby, you got the Yankees and Judge and all that stuff. All right. All right. The Vegas A's. Yeah, that's not my thing. I don't, but we'll see. I got a great friend of mine, one of my favorite people in the world working for the A's. So I'm A's respectful. Yes. When you have one of your best buddies in life working for a team, you want them to do good business. But yeah, I am cranky Yankee, man. Modelo Friday, YouTube, baby. Who's the fluffer? Who's in there? I've never seen the fluffer. He's dropping some Vegas A's on me, huh? Yes, AP just spoke. I listened intently. We'll see what happens. I love the YouTube. It's raw, man. I'm in my house. My wife made my brick backdrop today. Just good, man. Got my pool there to the right of me. Got my golf net, my outdoor golf net where I'm going to hit a bucket of balls today. Out of the gate, JT with you as we open up the show live from my house today. A rare home show. If you're watching or if you're listening, yeah, I got the brick wall behind me, which my wife put up today. Did everybody in Vegas survive the windstorm that we had last night? Man, it felt like it was going to knock down my house. Everything went in the pool. Everything that shouldn't go in the pool went in the pool. I saw that at 4 a.m. I didn't get out there until later in the like 8, 9 in the morning. Didn't get in. Used the long skimmer to get the cushions out and everything out. Even the cigar ashtray made it into the pool. Luckily, I keep that clean. So I hope everybody survived the great windstorm. Man, we went from summer, hot, 105, 110, to I think our first fall day of the year, man. I mean, it's fall today. Good day to play outdoor football, but the Raiders play on the road at the Rams. So for our YouTube audience, thanks for helping me build this platform. I hope everybody listening could check out what we do every day. It's a good way to podcast the show, JT the Brick YT. That's my own channel on YouTube. Excited to get that going here. And I'm just going to do about 30 minutes today of video, and then we'll do 2 hours of radio here total. You can always listen on LV Sports Network or on the Raiders mobile app as we get going today. The focus of the monologue today brought to you by PTs, where I'm going to PTs for a beverage later on today, meeting a buddy of mine at the SG Bar at the corner of 215 and Flamingo, always getting in plugs with my partners. They fuel the monologue, over 70 taverns here. I need a beverage. It's a Modelo Friday. I got my Modelo hat on. The way the Yankees lost last night was one of the worst losses of my life in 50 plus years of my life. I have never seen anything like that dating back to 2004 in the Red Sox. So I'll get to that at some point in the monologue. My head exploded last night after Judge and Stanton homered, and it was going to be an instant classic for the Yankees. One of their greatest wins, man. Look, they've won 27 rings, and a lot of them were before you were born, maybe before your grandparents were born, but too bad they all count. And last night would have been a classic, one of their all-time classic wins in ALCS history, and it's one of the epic collapses I've ever seen. So with all of that, I am not in a good place. And I'll tell you this much. I've been doing sports as a fan. Forget about radio. As a fan my whole life, as a passionate, diehard fan. When you lose a game that way in any sport, okay, it could be football where you're up 27 points, or you could be up 28-3 like the Falcons in the Super Bowl, whatever it is. When you lose a game where you choke it so badly and lose dramatically, you can lose the entire series. Everybody today is going, oh, the Yankees are going to win. They're up 2-1. No. The way they lost that game is enough to spiral the series out of control back to the Guardians. You saw it. And the Dodgers are on cruise control against the Mets. The Mets are happy to be there. And I just want to say this quickly about the Mets. Good for the Mets. They had a good season. When the season started, the Mets were terrible. They were one of the worst 5 teams in baseball in April. They were god-awful. People thought they could lose, 85, 90 games, whatever it was going to be. The Mets, every time they win a series, they take out champagne and this OMG plaque, and they jump around with ski goggles on. I want to say this again. You don't put on ski goggles when you win a game early in the playoffs, but every team does now. They got a bunch of guys who are 24 years old. They want to drink free beer in the clubhouse. They want to put on goggles. They want to spray champagne all over the place. Well, the Mets did that, and now the Mets are done because they cared more about spraying champagne and Bud Light all over the locker room than they did winning. The Dodgers are smoking the Mets, and the Dodgers are probably going to play the Yankees, I hope, if my Yankees don't collapse. Yesterday, I had a beautiful spiritual day out at the Shriners Children's Open. I'm happy I was out there yesterday, not today. I mean, I don't know how you can hit a golf ball in this wind. I think they moved back to tee times, but I had a good time talking to a couple of their patients, their brand ambassadors who are really special, took some photos and met some parents. So that was really cool. And last Friday at this time I was off, I was with Simon Keith as I was able to MC his event when we talk about organ donation. And Rose, who was the young gal who was donated a heart back in the day and living a full life now. So I feel like I'm in a really good place here. The last couple of weeks on the radio, we've been involved and invited to be a part of some really cool charity events. And the more I can be a part of, the better there. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. We got to get to the football game. So let me jump in on the Raiders at the Rams. This week is one of the most bizarre weeks that I've seen in my career with the Raiders. It had highs and lows, and normally that doesn't happen by Wednesday or Thursday. So the week started off coming off the loss to Pittsburgh in a game where the Raiders just are struggling. They cannot turn the ball over, and they lead the league in turnovers. What the Raiders are doing now is something that I didn't want to see happen for the Raiders. I don't want to see the Raiders last in any category. The Raiders are last in turnover differential at -10. They are last in turnovers. They give away the ball 12 times. That's last. And they're tied for last in takeaways. They only have 2 bleeping turnovers, 2 turnovers as we're heading into week 7. This is absolutely unacceptable on any level of professional football. Okay, just by showing up and getting lucky or not having bad luck, you're in the middle of the pack. You got about 6 turnovers and you got 4. You got a -2 differential. Something happens. This team has turned over the football at a level that we couldn't imagine. No one imagined this before the start of the year. The Raiders weren't going to turn it over like this. And now they're the biggest turnover nightmare in the entire league. The term clean it up, I hate it. So does Raider Mort, my buddy I try to talk to almost every day. I hate the term clean it up. Every week, teams around the league, we're going to clean it up. We're going to clean it up. Clean it up. The Raiders haven't cleaned that up. I know that Antonio Pierce isn't preaching turn the ball over, on offense. I know that Antonio Pierce is telling the guys to turn it over on defense. So how could this happen? Normally, in the first couple of weeks of the year, I just talk about trends. Now they're stats. And the Raiders here are dead last in a couple of categories. So if they weren't dead last in this turnover differential and the amount of turnovers, I think they have a really good chance to beat the Rams. The Rams are dead last in the NFL in rushing yards per game at 157.5. You're going to hear that term a lot on the show. I'm going to play some of my Lincoln Kennedy conversation next hour on the show. We talked about that a bit. The Raiders have to go into LA and beat the Rams. We've lost our last 5 games at SoFi Stadium. SoFi is nothing more than a generic sports Walmart. It has no culture. It has no vibe. It's nothing. It's majestic if you got a suite ticket. SoFi is amazing if you got passes to Taylor Swift in a concert. SoFi is amazing if you're in a lower bowl suite with lobster tail. It's a generic football Walmart. It's the home of the Rams, and the Chargers are there. It's in the middle of Inglewood. In the hood, always up to no good, Inglewood. I lived in LA for 10 years. I would never live in Inglewood, but other people do, and it's nice for the people that live there. They put the stadium there for a reason, to try to clean up Inglewood and get people to come there, because LA is a town of sprawl based on multiple freeways that you can't even keep track of if you live in LA. So they put it there. They don't put it in Hollywood. They didn't put it in Malibu. They didn't put it in Brentwood. They didn't put it anywhere you want to go. They put it in Inglewood for a reason. And the Raider Nation dominates Inglewood, California. We dominate Compton, California. We dominate everywhere you go in Los Angeles, but we can't win in that building as of late. How about that for motivation? To get everybody off the bus after the short plane ride to go into Inglewood and win a football game where the coach is from Compton. That seems to be a motivational force for this team to be ready to play. Will the team be emotionally ready to play? Yes. You cannot argue that point, everybody. You're trying to look at everything to argue with me. You want to fight me on everything with the Raiders. You think the Raiders coaches stink. You don't like this. You don't like that. You want to fight me on every turn I try to make as I try to produce a fast-paced radio show. They don't stink early in games. They're prepared to play. Their preparation is good. It's not elite. They don't have an elite team. But the coaches work to get the players ready because they start off these games with the lead. They beat Baltimore in Baltimore. They hammered Cleveland, and they had the lead in Denver, and they had the lead at home against Pittsburgh. So with all that being said, I just took out a topic that you can't argue with me. You can't debate me that the Raiders are not ready to play. You can't. So don't even bother. I hang up on in 10 seconds. The Raiders are ready to play. The problem is the Raiders can't sustain any success. And when the Raiders get out to a lead, something happens, and they give up a play or they turn it over, and then the lug nuts start to loosen. And then the wheels get loose, and then the wheels start rolling off the 10 freeway, and no one can get it. So we got to find a way to stop that. We got to find a way to play in a football game, as I've been preaching all year long to you. And Vic Tafur will join us at the bottom of the hour. As I've been telling you all year long, I just want to be entertained and watch a full football game. I want to watch a beginning, a middle, and an end of a football game that's played properly. We are nowhere near seeing that, and that's disturbing to me. We've seen a little bit of flashes. We've seen some good plays. We've seen some decent defense at times. The offense, we've seen Brock Bowers. I mean, how great is Brock Bowers? Hell of a player to build this franchise around going forward. But, I just want to see a good game. Other people call it complimentary football. The hell with that. I just want to see a good game. I want to see some fun, some excitement, some entertainment, because this is a ticket that you buy to be entertained. And the Raider fans haven't been entertained this year at home or on the road for just a little bit of a period of time. The fourth quarter in Baltimore. How long am I going to have to keep mentioning the final 12 minutes in Baltimore? And the Raiders beating Baltimore and how great that was. That seems like a distant memory. So the Raiders are at a point here where it's make or break. I gave you do or die. I gave you must win. Now my new term is make or break. You're either going to make some players accountable or you're going to move on from these players at the trade deadline. I'm not a GM, nor do I pretend to be one here on the radio. But if you can't get more than 2 wins and over the next couple of weeks with Kansas City and Cincinnati and a Rams team that's dead last in rushing and only has 1 win, if you can't get these wins, then Raider Nation is going to start looking towards the future next year. I can't do that. Nor do I want to do that. I go week to week. We got guests week to week. We got to do a show. You don't think we do. You just think we need to throw in the towel and get ready for next summer. No, we can't do that here. So we got to beat the Rams. And the Rams are 1-4. And I think it would be quite embarrassing to lose to a 1-4 Ram team. I just said it. There's no need to lose to this team. This is not a very good football team. They got a lot of injuries, but they are coming off their bye week. They got some good players. I look at some of the additions to this team and who they lost. There's no more Aaron Donald here. Losing Jordan Fuller and the players that they had and who came in here. They don't have a lot of players on this team that you look at and say are great players. But Jared Verse, who was the 19th pick overall, the edge rush out of Florida State, is a great player. He was already the NFC Defensive Player of the Month. Keep an eye on him. They got Matthew Stafford. They got a running back who can run it. But other than that, no Puka. It looks like Cooper Kupp's going to try to play. We're going to wait and see if Jacoby Myers can play. So with all of this, what do you expect to see? I can't turn that question over on any of my platforms because the majority of Raider fans would come back at me negative. I expect to see turnovers. I expect them to lose. I expect them to melt down. We don't want to do that. We want to win the game. So what you need to do to win the game is the Raiders have to rush the ball in this game aggressively. They have to run the ball aggressively in this game, and that would be Alexander Mattison, depending on Zeus, Zamir White, and his status. And Dylan Lobby got a shot, and he put the ball on the ground, which was a huge mistake. But that was his first carry. I don't know what they plan on doing with him. But even though I don't believe the Raiders can run the ball successfully right now against anybody, and we found out from the coach a short time ago that Dylan Parham will not play in the game, we still don't have an offensive line that could be healthy enough and be cohesive enough to think that you can run the ball. What I know they can do is they can go heavy to Brock Bowers, depending on if Jacoby plays or not. You can't expect Jacoby to play now. If you do, if he does play and gives it a go, you can't expect him to be at 100%. I went all big on Trey Tucker last week. He didn't get a catch. DJ Turner is a backup player like DJ Turner. And I don't know who's going to get the ball. Michael Mayer's still not available. So what are you going to do? You can throw the ball to Brock Bowers 30 times? No, but you can get it to him 10. And you get him the ball in the end zone. And let's get the ball to Brock in the end zone if we can. So fire the ball downfield. Take a couple of shots. Let Aiden O'Connell get loose in the first quarter. Throw a couple of bombs to Trey. Let's see if we can see some design plays, some jet sweeps, something a little bit different to get the game going. Daniel Carlson had 1 point in the last game. As you know, I think he needs 12 every game, 3 field goals and 3 extra points if the Raiders are going to win. Wasn't even close last week. A.J. Cole, our favorite punter, had a punt blocked. I mean, everything that could go wrong has been going wrong around here. So for the Ram game, I think they're better than the Rams, but I thought they were better than the Steelers. I didn't think they were better than Baltimore, and they beat Baltimore. I thought they were much better than Denver, and they could have crushed Denver, but a pick 6 for 100 yards by Patrick Surtain II steamrolled that game. I just hope that the Raiders can put up a fight and win a game against the 1-4 team. Is that too much to ask for? 702-365-9200. I mean, coaches and everybody's coaching their ass off. Guys are coaching for jobs. Players are playing for contracts. I mean, Max Crosby's getting chippy now, man. Believe me. Max is getting chippy. He's a leader, but look at the locker room now as we take a look at everything that's happening here. So there is a lot of news to get to, and I want to hear from you as we get rolling here. And we'll have some sound coming up here in a little bit. The other thing on Devonte Adams, let me get this off my chest. I woke up this morning at 3 a.m. because my house was falling down from the wind. And then when I got up earlier, I saw Devonte running routes like a gazelle on the Serengeti, catching balls from Aaron Rodgers, looking like he's never looked before. I guess hamstrings heal quicker in New Jersey than they do in Vegas. Really upset about what happened this week with Devonte Adams. Devonte Adams is now in the past, but I just wanted to mention here again, Devonte seems like a really good guy to a lot of people. And on the way out of Las Vegas, he really burned the Raiders. He really burned the Raiders on the way out. You can still be a nice guy and do that. Doesn't mean, I make mistakes every day. I screw up 5 times a day before breakfast. I think I'm a good guy. If I make a mistake, I don't want my life to be judged by 1 mistake or 100. But Devonte left town in the worst possible scenario you could leave town. He claimed to be injured, and I got to say he's injured. If he's on the injury report, I got to do it. He's hurt. He shows up with the Jets, and he looks like he's 5 years younger, ready to go. He's jumping on Zooms with Pat McAfee, going on with Kay Adams, happy about being a Jet. Well, I can just tell you a couple of things. That is bogus, and he's not happy to be a Jet. He loved being a Raider. His grandmother got a chance to see him play. He grew up a Raider fan. He loved living right across the street down the road from me on this part of town. He loved Chef Barry's. He loved the golf courses at Shadow Creek and Wynn. Devonte Adams loved it here. Now he leaves the Raiders, and he's telling everybody he's a Jet. He plays on Sunday night. What if Devonte could have played like Cliff Branch with not a 100% hamstring the way Cliff did, and it could have been enough to beat the Steelers, and the Raiders could have been 3-3? Could that have changed the deal on the trade? The Raiders at 3-3, the Jets at 2-4. Do the Jets come up from a 3 to a 2? We'll never know. We'll never know. But this week was the ultimate distraction. Devonte Adams was a disturbance and a distraction to the Las Vegas Raiders. Mark Davis paid him an enormous amount of money for him to play here, an enormous amount of money, and he left town to be a Jet on a 2-4 team. I am so happy to get that distraction away from us now and talk more about football. And hopefully you can too. And again, I'm sincere when I say I wish Devonte well, but I'm not going to root for the Jets to win a game. And if you want to, for some mystical draft pick that you think can come like fairy dust in a wand like Tinkerbell and move that up to a 2, and you want to be a Jet fan, go ahead. You're not going to get that crap from me. I am not rooting for Devonte Adams and Aaron Rodgers. You got to be kidding me. Period. You do what you want to do. I don't tank. I don't lose. I don't root for losses. I don't root for better draft picks. That's not me. If you want to do that, you're more than happy to do it. All right, so we got Devonte out of the way. And then the positive stuff of Tom Brady on Wednesday. You know, I've been in the building here. That what Mark built with the Raiders headquarters is just fabulous. I mean, for those who have been fortunate to be there, many of you got a lot of public events there. There's chalk talks. There's opportunities to be on the field. Maybe you went to a practice. It's incredible. To work out of that studio is amazing. To see my friends who have offices there and work there and are vibrant there, from sales to football, it's really cool. I got my own locker with my name on it to change and get out of a polo and get a suit on. I mean, I love being in that building. And to see Tom Brady pull up and walk in that building to a standing ovation by the entire organization, that was cool. Normally, you don't talk about that in week 6 going on week 7. It's just not something you can wrap your head around. It doesn't happen. But Tom Brady is now part of the organization, and I'm assuming he's going to have a big role. He's a broadcaster. That's his priority job. But now he's an investor and a partner in the Raiders. Of course, Tom Brady's going to have influence. Of course, Tom Brady's going to give his opinion. Mark and Tom are friends. Mark Davis is great. He has a lot of friends. You don't know Mark Davis. You might never have met him. You might not think he could be your friend. He's a great guy to be a friend with. And Tom Brady now is going to work with him to try to make the Raiders better. That was a big takeaway. Normally something like that would happen after the Super Bowl, happen in the summertime. So, that would happen. And then finally, the false rumors of Max Crosby, who I text with, and Max is great. Max is highly motivated. Max has got an edge to him. Max wants to win. So please keep that garbage out of your mouth about Max going to the Lions or Max not being happy here. Max is upset that they're losing because he's a winner, but Max is a Raider, and he's a cornerstone to this organization. Mark Davis made that clear. So hopefully we can get that nonsense out of the way. All right, Vic Tafur is going to join us momentarily. We're going to jump out of YouTube here in a minute. We'll see if we can do this here, but I'm concentrating. My priority is the radio audience and people listening to us on terrestrial radio or listening on the app. Ultimate Raider Dave, start us off here on the flagship of the Raiders. Go ahead.
They had James Lofton, and things didn't work out. We need consistency. That's why this organization this time kind of frustrated me, because we didn't stick with AFC's timeline. We didn't stay consistent. Getsy has to work with his tools, not try and hammer square pegs in round holes. He has to adapt. He has to be flexible. It's about timing, JT. If you notice, every game that I've been watching, JT, this has been a failure of clock management. How do we give people the ball at the end of a half with 1 minute to go? You don't do that. At the end of a game, you can't give away the time that you have. Remember, last year, when we scored in 7 seconds, so why the hell do you walk off the field with 30 seconds on the clock and walk away?
Okay. All right, my friend. All right, appreciate you. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, thanks for the call, buddy. I got to run. I got a guest coming up here. I'll say this again. I have not been impressed with the clock management. I'm never impressed. I'm never impressed with the pace of play with the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm never impressed with it. I think they should be playing faster with the sense of urgency. Let me leave you on this note before we come back with Vic Tafur. I'll say this again. You play one football game a week. You play less than 30 minutes on each side of the ball, offense or defense, and then the clock is running. So the players are only bursting or playing for under 12 minutes a game. So if you're on offense, a wide receiver, your center, whatever you are, if you take the time in the huddle, you take the time where the defense is on the field, you're on the bench, you're playing for less than 12 minutes a week. This team should be playing their ass off on every play. I normally don't have a problem with the effort. I think the effort's there. So does Antonio Pierce. So does Luke Getsy. The problem I see is I don't see the fire intensity of Oakland Raider, Los Angeles Raider, Las Vegas Raider football. I don't see them taking care of the clock. I don't see them playing fast. I don't see them playing with burst. I don't see when they do something to do it again, but a little bit faster with the sense of urgency. They teach and coach urgency. Well, once the game gets going, the huddling, the walking up to the line of scrimmage, it's almost like they're scared to make a mistake on offense. Then maybe that's the problem. When you don't have Devonte Adams, you don't have Jacoby Myers, you don't have Michael Mayer, you got injured offensive linemen. Maybe you don't want to run the plays too quick. You want to kill the clock. But with 2 wins, you should be playing a completely different brand of football going forward. It should be an air raid offense. It should be over the top. It should be the deep ball. It should be passion and energy, and the Raiders should play faster, better, and with more intensity. And if you turn it over, you turn it over. It's a mistake. You'll live for another play. But just play like your job's on the line. Play for the fans on the road who are paying money to get airline tickets to travel, and play your ass off on Sunday the way John Madden expected his teams to play. 702-365-9200. That is the monologue as we begin the show. Yes, Modelo. Got the Modelo hat on. Man, what a hat this is. Bucket of Modelos. Coming up here at 2 o'clock. Good to be home. I got to thank my wife for building the studio out with the brick backdrop, man. This is cool. And hopefully everybody stays out of the wind. Not a good hair day, ladies out there. Be careful out there. We're concerned with everybody's hair today. All right. Okay. All right. I'll keep it here for Vic. As you know, you're not going to be able to hear it great. I got to kind of move my headset around, but we'll try it. What else is going on? Anybody going to see some live music? Big D, anything going on up north? We got some weird weather here. Let me get a weather report here. We are 66 degrees, man. Look at that. Hold on. Why is it so bright? Yeah, 66. Will be 71 will be our high today. It is salty out there. It's raining in downtown Vancouver, Kenny. Man, I love me some Vancouver. Raider Deb, 72 in San Jose. When do my Golden Knights come to San Jose? When do they play up there? I mean, it might be a good road trip for me. Birthday weekend, Big D. You're on my Facebook friend list, my real one. Hold on. Let me see. Here. Hold on. Go to my birthdays. Oh, there it is. Big D, October 19th. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Big D. Got you on my Facebook list right there. Yeah, not the JT the Brick, but the real one with my nieces and nephews. Woo! Yeah, my wife got me my cough drops too. This is what I need on Friday. Look at that magical gift of cough drops. Right? You know what I just found in my drawer? A picture of me and Michael Mayer. Look at that. Isn't that weird? I just reached in the drawer for some cough drops. I found a picture of me and Michael Mayer. It's kind of trippy. Isn't that weird? We need Big Mike. Yeah, we hope the best for Big Mike. What else do I have? What else do I have in here? I have a starfish. There was starfish here. So if you want to listen to Vic, the audio of it, kind of put the Raiders app on. You'll hear me asking the questions, but I got to focus on this interview. You can listen on the radio side, and then I'll wrap it up here on YouTube in about 20 minutes. I like this logo a lot, man. This is a good logo.
He's kind of done it the right way. He's come in. He's worked hard. He's not expected anything. He's earned everything. And I think all the reps in his play style and his efficiency and what we're trying to get done. Right? He knows what to do, how to do it, the way to do it. He's taking care of the football, all that stuff. So I think he's earned all those opportunities for sure.
That's Luke Getsy, offensive coordinator for the Raiders. Can they get the running game going? As the Rams are dead last in rushing defense, we're proud to bring in Vic Tafur every 2 weeks on Friday from The Athletic and his great podcast. And Vic, I don't know, man. If you're going to write a book, you better write one because this was a hell of a week with Tom Brady, Devonte getting traded. I mean, I know you're accumulating all of this information. How do you rate this week and all the weeks you've covered the Silver and Black? Now let's start with Devonte and the relationship you built, being in front of the podium, being in the locker room, and seeing. Did you see a moment where this went wrong in Costa Mesa or last year because a new regime? He seemed to like Antonio Pierce a lot. Seemed to lean more to Aiden O'Connell over Gardner Minshew. Where do you think it went wrong with Devonte Adams? Vic Tafur's our guest. Vic, what'd you think of the compensation coming back? I thought Buffalo would have been a better fit for Devonte, but did the Jets all along think that they had a chance to get him? Or I thought the market collapsed when the Jets lost to Buffalo and then Derek Carr got injured. I thought the market kind of went away from Devonte Adams, and then all of a sudden Telesco was able to pull the deal off for a third, a conditional third that could be a second. Vic Tafur's our guest. So, Vic, not the cap's going to change, obviously, from year to year, and Tom Telesco is going to have more money now that he's moved Devonte. But is that something you're keeping an eye on in the back of your mind? You're writing about and podcasting about what the Raiders are building towards the future when it comes to draft and financial equity going into next year. Vic, let's get to Luke Getsy. What are you seeing with him and how hot his seat is from maybe staying on the field, going up top? Running the ball on second and long doesn't seem to make sense any longer, but maybe it does in this game because the Rams are dead last in rushing defense. What do you sense when you look and ask questions to Luke Getsy? Is he feeling the heat here because the offense has been pretty much stagnant? Vic, what is the mindset of the team now from your last locker room session and seeing the players out there? You mentioned they're happy to close the Devonte chapter, but it's still a 2-win team, desperate to get a win in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think my this week than it was last week with Devonte kind of hanging in the air. Obviously, didn't want to be there, and it was kind of a weird situation where the rumors were like, hey, we have to come back, you can't trade him, which I thought was never going to work. So I think
Hey, Vic, finally, the Tom Brady issue, that's an off-season topic overall, but were you surprised of the ramifications that the league put on his broadcast career and what he won't be able to do as a broadcaster? It's almost impossible to broadcast games when you can't meet on team facilities, can't go to practice, can't be in the production meetings, and all of that. I mean, if there's one guy who can probably do it because he could do it via phone calls and sources and friends around the league, it would be Tom Brady. But now as a minority owner, what his interest will be in helping the Raiders in the future. He's still got a broadcast career in front of him. Hmm. Thank you, Vic. Appreciate you. I'll see you out there. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. That's senior writer Vic Tafur of The Athletic and his podcast, the Just Win podcast. Appreciate Vic coming on board. I'm fascinated by the Brady story. I didn't waste Vic's time on Max Crosby. He put up a post on Max, and I think we both stand in the same room on Max. Max is going to be here. But the Brady thing is quite fascinating because he's a unique American icon. So there's a lot of owner. Richard Seymour is now an owner for the Raiders. He's got 0.05%. Richard Seymour is a Gold Jacket Hall of Famer. So is Tom Brady. But Tom Brady is an American icon. And he never failed. I mean, the guy never fails. He lost 2 Super Bowls to Eli Manning. He lost the Super Bowl to Philadelphia. I mean, the guy could have 10 Super Bowls. He's the most successful football player of all time. So Vic makes an interesting point. Is he going to look at broadcasting and go, and I can make, the interest alone and the money he's going to make year in and year out on the return of his investment on the Raiders is probably going to be, if not more, the same that he'll make as a broadcaster. I would assume owning the Raiders, the way the market goes up in Vegas, that'll be more. But it's not a delicate situation. But as I talked to someone in the building about it the other day, we need to focus on football games now. The Brady story's nice, and Devonte leaving is really gossipy and weird and interesting to the Jet fans, not to the Raider fans. But we got to win a football game, and they get paid to win. And there's a lot of people whose jobs are on the line, especially the players. There's players who are playing for future contracts, and if they don't play well and they decide to make business decisions and they don't play balls out on every play, other teams are going to see that. And their reputation in the building in Henderson will be that they checked out. And if the Raiders don't re-sign them to a contract, the other teams will hear from within the Raider organization that those players didn't play at their best. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think the Raiders are going to play at their best because they're professionals, and they're the utmost professionals, and that's what it's going to take. When we come back, I'd like to get in a couple phone calls, 702-365-9200. Dodgers win. The Yankees lose. The Yankees lost in horrific fashion. Also, the Denver Broncos now have 4 wins. You got to be kidding me. I mean, Denver is a pretty bad football team when you watch them play, but they're finding ways to win. And this is going to be interesting to see what happens with them going forward, because Denver, I didn't think Denver would have a chance to compete with Bo Nix, at least at a playoff level, but they already got 4 wins. And if the Raiders can beat the 1-4 Rams, they'll have 3. And they'll be 1 back to Denver overall. And that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping that the Raiders can climb back into this thing. And if they don't, then we're just going to go week by week and look at the opponent. But I was very optimistic that beating Carolina and beating Pittsburgh would have put the Raiders in a situation here where they would have been 4-2 instead of 2-4. Now they're digging out of a massive hole with a lot of controversy behind them in Devonte Adams. Dylan Parham won't go in this game, and Vic Tafur just told you exclusively on our show that he doesn't think Jacoby Myers is going to play. We'll wait for the Raiders injury report to make sure that's accurate or not. Vic's really accurate with his reporting here. Be ashamed if Jacoby wasn't able to put up a year worth of stats because he's been injured. Michael Mayer is unavailable still. He won't be able to put up a year worth of stats. And Devonte Adams isn't going to put up a year worth of stats even with the Jets because he's missed a couple of games here too. Crazy, crazy season when it comes to football injuries. It really is. From the Niners and Christian McCaffrey to Aiden Hutchinson of Detroit being gone for the year, and to see us have a couple of players, especially Christian Wilkins, gone for the year, that is really tough to see. 702-365-9200. Someone asked me, Walt, on the chat, you really think AP and Getsy are going to outcoach Sean McVay? I think Sean McVay is a wizard. I talked to the coach about it. You'll hear it. I'm going to play my interview with Coach near the top of the hour on the other side. I think anybody can hang in there as a head coach and a coordinator with any other coaching coordinator. The players have to execute the game plan. The players have to go win the game. All right, everyone. I think I'm going to bail here. want to thank you for coming in. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming into my home. Gonna have some Modelo's in about an hour and 20 minutes. Appreciate everybody. Big D, have a good birthday weekend. Everybody else, thanks a lot. I think I'm going to fire up the machine on Saturday or Sunday a bit to try to get something going. So please hit the like button on the way out. And thanks for being with me all week, man. I can't thank you enough. You mean a lot to me. Thank you.